So we start this video off on the messy side of the house, so don't mind all the junk. This is where we keep our junk that we should otherwise throw out. Today we're dealing with a Devanti desktop dishwasher, and it's not working. We've been away for a couple of weeks, and when you fire it up it beeps and this light flashes really fast. The manual gives us really two error codes that this can display, not much else, one of which is overflow and one of which is not good water pressure. We did verify that we had water pressure up to the inlet here and that mostly should work, and we think maybe it's an overflow. We've taken the sides off already. We can see here this is the outlet. When it pumps water over here it goes over till it stops, and once it can't pump any more out it doesn't stop trying to pump, it just keeps going. So that suggests to me that it's detecting an overflow. This is, we're pretty sure, the inlet side of things. We have very hard water here, it's bore water this time of year, and calcification can build up over time, which is what's going on here. I'm not keen to disassemble this arrangement because I'll probably never get it to seal properly again if I do. There is a flow meter in here, which disconnecting that doesn't seem to make a lot of difference. So I've checked all the obvious things. I've checked that the door switch is in fact working. We've disconnected this, there's no change. We may have had a power spike and it's damaged something, or it may be that the inlet valve in here is not working, but we'll go over a couple of ideas and we'll see what we can come up with. At the moment I need to empty the raw water out of this, and I need to get into the bottom of things to find where the overflow switch is. Now, upon tipping the unit over, I notice on the back here there is a screw right here that is removed, and a couple of little latches here. I think that will allow me to take this bottom plate off. There might be a couple more around here. We'll try and get that off and see what's under there. Alright, well, this back removed, which was very simple. Straight off the bat I see this little micro switch here with a piece of foam in here. I think that would be designed to float up if there's excess water in the base here, and obviously trigger a float switch. So that could be a primary issue. I need to work out if it's normally open or closed. I may be able to just bridge that switch and see if things operate as normally. But that would be an overflow switch. Everything else in here is looking pretty clean. This is our inlet valve. I do have something similar to this kicking around if that's not functioning, and I know how I can test those. So let's try this first. Alright, I noticed there's some junk building up here. We've got the sensor off. The foam pad's still here. That says that something has been leaking at some point. And on the motor here there's some signs of a bit of moisture as well. So maybe something has been leaking, and it's definitely been wet in there. So I wonder if maybe, because this is near an open window, if we've had some really intense rain and wind. Yeah, see, there's water here. Maybe it's blown water in the window and it's filled up this pan here and caused us to have an overflow event. That would probably make sense. The board fortunately seems to be in good condition, so I'm happy about that. That doesn't seem to have any issues. The motor, I'm not seeing signs of it being full of water. Start capacitor looks pretty good. So maybe we're just leaking up here somewhere. Don't know, we'll see how we go. So I went inside to clean these corners out, and I had a look at the design of this. The water that will drip down will tend to drip into this position, or if it's built up in the back here, it'll build up till it runs down. If this fills up and floats, which doesn't need to come up very far, this is designed to not let the water drain out until somebody comes and tends to the problem. So these little things don't readily drain it out. So if that's been up there, it's likely stayed there until we've moved the unit. So I have a feeling that if I just put this back together, it'll probably work okay. And I don't have to do a lot to put it back in. I've just got to clip that back onto that piece and put the bottom back on. I think this is some ground strapping that pushes up against maybe the motor or something up there. I'm not sure what that's meant to do, but in any case, let's put this back together, see if it was just the overflow switch. Okay, we're back inside, we're live, not hooked up to water yet. Let's see if we get the same error message. Normally by now it would be beeping. It's not, maybe we'll fix it. So let's hook everything else up and put the cover back on, see what happens. Now I know testing these things with the cover off is sensible, but in this case I'd have to hook everything up, test it, then take everything off, then put the cover on and hook it up again. So I'm going to put a couple of screws in, test it, and then put the rest of the screws in. Okay, let's do water on. We do need to clean out around the bottom of the hot water surface here. This is junk that come out of the washing machine, by the way, don't mind that. So our drainage is good, water is good, water's on, power's on. Let's see what happens. Okay, turn you on. Okay, it's not beeping anymore, and it's going to try and finish a pump out cycle, and then it should try and fill it with water. Right, stopped. Now I hear water coming in. That's usually a good sign. And I hear water coming in this way. Alright, it's not beeping, so there's definitely been a change to its function. It's still flashing, but that's normal, it's not beeping. We'll let it go for a minute and see what happens. And from that sound, you can probably hear it best from here, it is now cleaning. It's doing its thing. And we've got a lot of cleaning to do behind here too. So, alright, I think that's fixed. We'll run a clean wash, we're going to clean the top off. We'll come back in a few minutes. Alright, it's had a good clean up. We're going to put the rack of dishes in a second. I have a theory. While we were away for a couple of weeks, there was a serious amount of rain come in, and the wind was blowing from the direction you don't normally get. We think it's come in through this window and down the back and filled up the bottom. The question we have at the moment is, why did that not trip? So that might be the next thing to investigate. Anyway, let's put these dishes in. Alright, so that's going to go in. Now keep in mind, the place is in a bit of disarray at the moment, in large because we had a break-in about an hour before we arrived, and they kind of messed the house up a bit. So I've got a lot of cleaning to catch up on that wasn't necessarily our mess. So far that looks pretty good.
1 hour later.
Alright, I'm pretty sure that indicates it's finished the cycle. Let's have a look. It has. There's stuff on the bottom, it hasn't pumped it out yet. But it is certainly cleaning, and it's fogging up my camera lens. So it's doing its job, the dishes are clean. I think we push that to continue it on. That's the pause, that's the restart. So it'll go through a time and pump that out, but I think we're fixed. It was just the overflow valve in the bottom, which, as I said from the start, there are really only two errors that these really basic models will throw. One is overflow and one is no water pressure. There's really not a lot to go wrong in them, but that side bit with all the hard water in there, I think that's probably going to be a problem in the future. But we got this second handy for not a lot of money, so it really doesn't owe us anything. It's done about 6 years at this point. So, catch you in the next one with possibly something Land Rover related.